Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside spending some time in nature, being mindful, being present, being active, being curious. That's right. Spending time in nature has so many benefits physically, mentally, and emotionally. Physically, well, you're walking, all right? You don't have to walk that fast. You don't have to break a sweat. But it does help if while you're out in nature, you are engaged in some movement. Not that you don't have to. You can experience nature by simply standing and appreciating where you are in the moment, standing still. However, if you can spend 20 minutes to a half hour outside walking in a mixed forest, immersing yourself in as much biodiversity as possible, the benefits increase. So let's start with the physical aspects. Well, you're working on your cardiovascular health. That's right. So the act of moving, you don't have to move that far, you don't have to move that fast. Just navigating in nature, all right, is going to be good for your heart. It's going to be good for your muscles, all right? And given the terrain, right now I'm kind of breaking trail, right? So I'm engaging entirely different muscle groups. So in my legs, my core, better for my posture, my balance, but it's also the act of being in nature is lowering my blood pressure. It's regulating my heart rhythms. And the fact that I'm immersed here amongst some coniferous trees, I'm being exposed to the essential oils, the volatile chemicals, otherwise known as phytoncides. They connect directly with my body's own immune system. The trees, the coniferous trees, they're still active in the production of energy, and they release phytoncides, volatile chemicals, they're essential oils, on the air. They're slightly heavier than the air, so they are falling, and they're making contact with my skin, through my eyes, my sinuses, inhaling them into my lungs. They are message senders, all right? So they are trees' means of communication, and they're, potentially warning each other. They're sharing the need for resources, but those phytoncides connect to their own NK cells, natural killer cells. So those are some of the benefits of being exposed to coniferous trees while out in nature. Now, emotionally, the act of being in nature appeals to the biophilic theory that we are from nature. We are of nature. We evolved in nature. All right. Hundreds of thousands of years of our evolution tied to nature. It's only been in the past, well, call it a couple thousand, that we've come together and we started to create communities. It's only the past couple hundred that we've begun to use tools and change our shelter and our need for food such that we can establish settlements. And it's only been in the past 100, right, the Industrial Revolution, where we've actually been quite isolated from nature, and that's having some effects, and they're not all positive. All right, yes, we've got some amazing advances in making ourselves comfortable and successful. Big beautiful brains and opposable digits had allowed us to go anywhere and everywhere off the planet, right, deep seas. However, it does come at a cost with our nature connection. So the act of being immersed in nature really does help with our emotional state. Now, the fact that I'm out here, being present, being mindful, I'm engaging with my senses, practicing some breath work, smelling, listening, feeling, noticing. All of these are helping reduce my cortisol. But having access, being present, being mindful, available fresh air, available daylight, increasing my serotonin, the fact that I'm moving, getting some exercise, some endorphins. All right, so these are all feel-good chemicals. Now, mentally, the act of navigating in nature, being mindful, being present, being grateful for the capacity to do so, having the skill set to do so, having experience. What that does with the lateral eye movement, I'm engaging both hemispheres of my brain as I look around, all right, as I notice. It does help with long-term memory, it does help with focus, and it's actually going to improve my sleep, which is part of our brain's, rest and repair mode. So I'm going to have better cognitive ability, it works with memory. So there are so many benefits. We're talking 20 minutes to a half hour, reducing cortisol, calm, creativity, improving my sleep, getting some happy chemicals, right? Getting some exercise. I'm not overexerting myself. And I do not take it for granted. I know that I have available, and I've created a lifestyle such that I have a routine and I've got a habit of going outside, and participating in nature connection. It's a skill set. I'm a certified forest therapy guide. So part of my practice is to invite others to experience nature connection through immersion, through sensory work, and depending on the demographic, depending on the theme of the outing, depending on the duration, having access to water, which has its own soothing sensations, having access to bird sound, bird song has its own emotional benefits, but there's so many aspects to a guided forest therapy experience. Total nature connection, deep immersion, sensory work that does benefit participants physically, mentally, and emotionally. On my own, it's known as forest bathing. All right. So if you happen to get a nature prescription from a physician, and part of that nature prescription, and those nature prescriptions started in Japan, 1980s, right, as a national initiative to combat stress, and it is now becoming a little more popular. It's becoming a little more feasible. It's becoming a little more studied. It's recognized that a nature prescription, 20 minutes, a couple times a week in nature, does benefit physically, mentally, and emotionally. So it doesn't take that much effort, doesn't take a lot of experience, but it does require some commitment, some persistence in finding the time. And then you've got to add the consistency of doing it over and over, and you will see the benefits. You will feel the benefits, and it'll change your life. So that's enough for now. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please go outside. You'll feel the difference. All right. Grateful for your time, your energy, and your support. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.